Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. If this is your first time meeting, make sure you drop some fire flames down in the chat. Some heart flames. I said flower flames. Welcome, 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 y'all. If you are old friends and family, welcome back. Welcome back. Y'all already know the vibes. Make sure you share the live. Don't be stingy with the gems. Tonight we are going to be getting into a discussion that's piggybacking off of our topic today. If you have not already viewed the last post that I made and have an idea of why you're not being chosen, that video, hey love, thank you so much for the likes. If you have not already watched that video and kind of internalize the 3 points that I gave you to understand why you are not being chosen, then go back and look at that video. Go and engage with that video to let me know you're coming from that video. And if I'm just falling upon your For You page, then welcome. This is a very spicy topic because I know a lot of people want to live in the illusion of being chosen, being a chosen one. But we say that in theory, but in action, a lot of people simply are not being chosen in life. A lot of people are being overlooked, under supported, and just simply not being supported in life. So I want to discuss or have a conversation, an open conversation, and it might trigger you a little bit. That's fine, but it's the kind of truth that it frees you. It's not shaming you. I'm not trying to shame anyone or make anyone feel less than, but it is a truth that's going to awaken you, or at least that is my intention, to awaken something in you to help you actually start to be chosen in life, to be prioritized in life, to attract what you desire in life. So if that is something that you are interested in hearing about, make sure you like the live, make sure you share the live. If you're new here, drop your name down in the chat with a fire flame. Why do I keep saying fire flame? It can be a fire flame, a heart flame. Drop it down in the chat so that I know that you're new and I can address you properly. I'm going to go ahead and get into the topic at hand. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and get into the topic at hand, which again is why you're not being chosen, why you're not being chosen in life, why you're not being chosen in your relationships, why you're not being chosen at your job, in your family. Why are you just being overlooked? And this conversation is specifically to the black sheep, the people who you're a little different and you're used to not being the first one picked. You're used to not being someone who's appreciated or valued. I'm specifically talking to that group of people because it's one thing to be chosen out of popularity, but it's another thing to be chosen for being not normal, and not normal in not a negative way, but just not being like everybody else, being original, being yourself. So I really want to get into that conversation. Why are you not being chosen? And I want to say this first. It's not because you're not beautiful enough, to my sisters who feel like you have to um, be aesthetically pleasing or have a certain aesthetic. I'm not going to say aesthetically pleasing because you do need to be aesthetically pleasing, but to have a certain aesthetic. And it's not because you're not accomplished enough. And it's also not because you're too much for people. So thank you, love. It's because the way you've learned to survive is blocking you from being received. So if y'all ready for this conversation, drop some flames down in the chat. Drop some flames down in the chat if y'all are ready to discuss why you have not been chosen. Why are you not being chosen? Because you are specifically blocking your ability to be received. So part one, call out the pattern. That's what we're gonna do first. We're gonna call out the pattern. Your survival instinct. We're gonna be honest with ourselves, because I'm a truth speaker. So we're going to be honest. We're not going to shift blame to, anybody outside of us, because we take accountability. We have sovereignty over our choices and our decisions and our magnitude. So if we're being honest, you are the one who initiates everything in your reality. You over explain yourself. You try to prove your worth early and obsessively. And you feel like you have to earn softness. You have to earn love. You have to earn support. And on the outside, it looks like confidence. But underneath, it's really just you trying to be controlling. Let's sit with that reality. I don't know how many times I've, posted on here, coach women, and they're like, oh, it's a luxury to have a soft life, or it must be nice. It must be nice. I don't experience men that allow me to be soft. I don't experience men that allow me to be feminine. Why do you need permission to be in your inherited, natural, God-given state? You don't need anybody's permission other than your own. And because you are trying to prove something to someone else, you will believe that narrative to your demise. You will believe that because of things outside of you, because of where you work, as if you didn't apply for that job, as in who you date, as if you did not choose to entertain or choose that partner, you will choose to, I don't have a support system, as if you don't choose your friend group. You choose everything in your life, handpick it. And as an adult, you still don't take accountability for the lack of this support that you have in your life, the lack of love that you have in your life, and the lack of softness that you have in your life. So we're going to take accountability today. You're not being chosen because energetically, you're the one doing the choosing, the leading, the holding, the proving. If you're doing all of the work, if you're in that role of choosing everything and being in control of everything, and having the having to lead everything, then how are you going to be chosen? There's no space left for someone to step in and choose you. And I'm not just talking about romantic partners. Matter of fact, that's not even my main focus. I'm talking about being chosen in life, period. This can be applied to every aspect of your life, to friend groups, to hobbies, to work environments. You are not being chosen because you are consistently trying to show up and lead and prove that you're confident and capable and can do it all. But as feminine beings, our job is to receive. Our job is not to exert ourselves and to be seen and have to force energy upon people. Our nature, our essence is to show up with the inner knowing that I am here to be served. I am here to be served. And yes, we show up and we serve in the capacity of reciprocity, not in the capacity of leading that servitude. Does that make sense? So part 2, let's get to the real root of why you operate in this manner in the first place. It didn't come out of nowhere. You didn't just wake up one day and say, I want to control everything. I want to be the leader. I want to, be in my masculine energy. You didn't just wake up one day and choose that. This is what I call masculine overdrive in the body. So because you have forced yourself in that position, and it might not be all of your blame, because a lot of this is rooted in how you were how you were raised and the level of things that you had to do from a child and parent standpoint. A lot of that's where it's rooted from, especially if like you're the oldest child, or your parents really weren't financially responsible, and you had to pick up a lot of things at a young age. It put you in that masculine energy. But the thing about that overdrive, it stays in your body. Even when you mentally want to break, when you mentally want to receive, you mentally want to allow people to help you, your body doesn't know how to relax. Your body does not know how to receive and to be in leisure. Your body is not acquainted to pleasure. It's acquainted to, I have to work to get a result, because that's what you saw growing up. That's what you saw. If we want a bills paid, you go to work and you just work at a job until you retire, or you work at a job till you're fired, whatever, but you work to pay bills. That's where you were trained to do. Especially if your parents didn't have enough. Some of y'all start working at 13, 14 years old, so you were forced into that work life without the training of how to receive, how to be in a feminine state and just receive. So let's break it down. You learn early that depending on people equals disappointment. This is a psychological part of how it was rooted into you. You learn early that depending on people equals disappointment. So I'd rather do it myself because I'm not going to disappoint me. And I used to tell myself the same thing. And what I realized is I disappoint myself too. I disappoint myself too, because if I have to step outside of my feminine energy to get something done, if I have to overexert myself, now I am wasting my good energy. I'm wasting my good ashe on something that I could have delegated and gotten someone else to do. And the more I told myself that I couldn't depend on people, the more I could not depend on people. But when I quickly shifted from I can depend on people, I've been dependent on people for a very long time, I started to bring back that magnetism of people just showing up and wanting to serve me, people showing up and wanting to bless me. Not because I didn't give anything to them or that I was demanding or felt entitled to something, but my energy in a room, it gave value enough that I didn't have to perform. Being my natural self was enough value for people to want to pour into me. And that was okay. Number two, you learn that softness wasn't safe. You ever hear the term? You ever hear the term? You can't be happy for too long. Because as soon as things start, as soon as you get too happy, something happens, or you lose something or whatever. That mindset, I don't even know where that came from, but I used to hear people say that all the time. I haven't heard anybody say it in a while, but I used to hear people say that all the time. I can't be happy for too long. They get some great news. Well, you can't be happy for too long. And I'm like, why? The more you feel that energy, the more you're in a place of pleasure and ecstasy and joy, the more you attract those experiences. But because you train yourself to believe that you can't be soft and get things done, that you can't be nurturing without being taken advantage of, that you can't be a kind person without being manipulated, you create a narrative of, instead of evaluating and assessing it as simple data and understanding patterns to avoid that in the next situation, you just chuck it up to, nah, this is not it. I can't be in this state. It's not safe to be in this state. And so you learn that if you don't do it, it won't get done. And again, everything that I'm saying is something that you completely made up. It's something that you completely made up. And I want to have this honest conversation with women, because a lot of times women like to make things up. And I'm speaking to women because women is who I serve. Of course, all people experience this, men or women. But the reason why I'm talking directly to the women is because women get away with it a lot more. Women get away with being incompetent. Women get away with being emotionally unregulated. Women get away with not knowing basic life skills. And this is why a lot of women in their marriages or in their long-term relationships are like children. If you're not in your masculine role, if you're not in a masculine role, 9 times out of 10, you're looked at as a child in that marriage. For the average woman. I'm not talking about the sisters who figured it out. But for the average woman, if you are in a long-term relationship, you're either in a masculine position and you're doing all of the masculine roles or most of the masculine roles. That man might be going to work, but you're also doing a lot of, and you're operating out of a masculine energy. And then 2, you're either in a feminine role, but it's a childlike feminine role. You haven't really mastered being a woman because there's no advantage of actually being a independent intellectual woman. It's one of the two. It's very few women who are in their divine essence and in partnerships with men, because a lot of intellectual women aren't attractive to men. But if you have a man who is, in his divine masculine and appreciates and value the feminine energy, then it becomes a beautiful relationship. And they do exist. I'm not discouraging you. They do exist. So your body is going to adapt to whatever this story is that you're telling yourself. Not into softness, but into strategy. Your mind is going to create a system of safety based off of what you're programming it to be safe. It's safe for me to just work myself to death. It's safe for me to neglect my health for the greater good of I need to work. It's safe for me to do it myself and not ask for help because of the fear of being disappointed or it not be done the way that I want it to be. It's safe for me to be in control versus allowing myself to be free and allowing spirit to show up how it's going to show up in my favor. So when you program yourself to believe this stuff, for one, you don't become powerful. You become prepared, and you're preparing yourself for the worst. When you're overly prepared, you're not open to possibility. And that is the feminine principle. Being open. I hate the term dark feminine. There's no such thing as dark feminine. Femininity is darkness. All femininity is darkness. The light is masculine energy. Because the light is what is outside of you. The womb, internal. Everything is internal. So if you are operating in a place of being afraid of the dark, then you're afraid of your feminine energy. Say, can you ask why I cover my face? For spiritual protection. So when you are afraid of the dark, when you are afraid of the unknown, of possibilities, of things happening that are spontaneous, for one, that is a part of life. We would not be experiencing the earth realm if everything was just supposed to be check and balance, and I know exactly what to do, and we have structure for a reason. We have systems for a reason. That makes it easier to navigate the unknown. But without the unknown, we make ourselves very limited to small possibilities, small opportunities, because we only know what we know. So if you only know this and you want to protect this small thing that you know, you're not going to be open to bigger possibilities, bigger responsibilities, and opportunities. All right, part 3, why this blocks your attraction. Y'all following me? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new coming in, make sure you drop your name down in the chat so I can greet you properly. Make sure that you're liking the live, tap the screen, and share the live to somebody who might need to hear this. Also, if you're not following me on YouTube, I put all of my replays to TikTok on YouTube. So make sure you're following me at Firechild Speaks on YouTube, where you'll see this full live stream again. So number 3, why this blocks your attraction. Let me shift your perspective for a second. Attraction is not built on how impressive you are. And I really need you to understand that. Attraction is built on how safe someone feels to approach, to lead, and to pour into you. This is in all aspects of life. I'm going to keep reiterating that because y'all like to minimize things to only be about relationships, romantic relationship. Okay, so attraction is not built on how impressive you are. A lot of women are performing being impressive. You're performing, yet that's why everybody on the internet look alike. All the influencers got the same look because nobody is original. Everybody is trying so hard to be different and end up looking exactly the same. Everybody's trying so hard to be different and end up talking about the same things. So you trying to be impressive, you trying to look intellectual, smart, and all these things. It's very hard to manipulate energy. You can manipulate it, but it's very hard to manipulate energy. He says, a childish Shango, it's hard to find someone to impress me. Same. And that's the whole point. That literally is the gag. That is the gag. Because the people who are the closest to me are not people who are trying to perform. You have to realize once you have this certain level of popularity or attraction and people come to you, it's very difficult for me to be in proximity with people who really don't know me or understand me, because they can't fathom me still being who I am in every room. I talk to my grandmother the same way I talk to my sister. I talk to my sister the same way I talk to my mentor. I talk to my mentor the same way I talk to my clients. I talk to my clients the same way I talk to somebody on the street. Why? Because I'm who I am. Give or take, might use a little less curse words with my elders. But the essence of my personality, the essence of my conversations, the essence of my whimsical nature, it's going to be the same across the board. And so when people become in proximity to you, especially women, because women are, I'm not going to say they're innately jealous, but women are innately territorial, I should say. They say it's men that are like that, but women are like that too. Because women are trained, I'm not going to say it's innately, that's not the divine feminine, but that is the programmed woman of modern society. Thank you, love. That is the programming of modern society, because women are trained to think that we need men to survive. We're trained to think that, is not that many fish in the sea. So if you get one, you might want to hold on tight to them because you're not going to get nobody else. We're trained to go against each other and be catty and think that we can't work together, or that there's always some jealousy or some type of competition. We're trained to go to bat against each other that way. That's up to you if you want to follow that program. I don't follow that program. However, the average woman does. So when I attract a certain type of woman and I see that they're trying to either impress me by acting like they know me, if you knew what goes on in my head, you will realize that you will lose your entire mind trying to keep up with my thoughts or trying to keep up with what's trending. I am walking contradiction because I walk in the light and in the dark. because I'm an empath. So I understand most things. I understand most behaviors. Not that I agree with them, but I understand it. I understand it because I can feel your emotion. I can feel what provoked you to actually do that. I don't have to respect it. I don't even have to, agree to it, but I understand it. So with that knowing, people can come to me and think that, having an opinion of something and thinking that I'm just going to agree with it. That's your opinion. And I'm not a group thinker. I'm not a group thinker at all. I cultivate my own opinions of everything. So I only married my man because I feel safe with him. Everyone else was trying to show me up. It be like that, especially for Omoshangos. It be like that. That's one of my taboos. I cannot be arrogant. Literally one of my taboos that I recently got. Not that I haven't had a million readings telling me not to be arrogant, but if I was just like, let me put it as a taboo and see if she listens. And it's not intentional. It's not intentional, but it's because so many people look at my life who are in proximity to me. That don't mean you know me because you're close or in proximity to me. But when people are around me and they think that they figured it out, or like, girl, you don't really got your stuff together, or girl, you really ain't that what I thought you were. Whatever expectation of me you had in your head, they think that I'm really not that person for some reason. Although my personality is the same, they'll think that, oh, I thought you was more structured than this. So I have whole ADHD. Okay. I am very much so structured, but I may not be structured in the way that is neurotypical. And guess what? I did all of this. That's what I think what triggers people. I've built everything that I've built being the way that I am without having to adjust myself to anybody else's preference. I created this life brick by brick without having to kiss nobody's ass for favor. Without having to beg to sit at nobody's table to feel valued. And still being able to serve at a high level. Could it be higher? Absolutely. But the people who are thinking that, oh, well, if she can do it, I could definitely do it because she all over the place. My madness has a structure, okay? Just because you don't understand it does not mean that my madness doesn't have a structure. And so we get into these spouts where the women will start to compete with you, or to think that, well, if she can do it and I know I'm more organized than her, or I know that, I'm more feminine than her, like I know that I'm more nurturing than her, so if she can do it, I feel like I'm, how many times women thought that because they thought that they were more attractive than me, how they would switch up when we got in the presence of men's attention, and how disappointed they would be when they still got zero attention from these said men, and I was still my clumsy, whimsy, arrogant, witty self, and still was getting the attention by not having to perform. It grinds people's gears. It grinds people's gears. He said, we have structure and we're more protected than they can imagine. Absolutely. My ancestors rock with me heavy. It be stuff that I don't be, I be having delayed reactions. People like, you didn't know such and such was said a child. I had no clue. Wasn't paying no attention to the shade, baby. And then next thing you know such and such got this going on. That's sorry to hear it. That was above my pay grade. So let me get back focused. Your attraction is not how impressive you are. I want to reiterate that. Your attraction is not built on how impressive you are. It's built on how safe someone feels around you. So when I am being genuinely myself, when I am being transparent, when I am being, who I am, That's what makes people safe in my spaces. That's what makes people, complete strangers, come into my bubble at the grocery store, outside on a jog, and just start telling me their whole life business because they feel safe in my energy. Does that have a level of protection? Absolutely. I used to be very open to that. Now it's a little bit more sacred because I know what I'm dealing with now. I know what you're actually being attracted to, and a lot of times people siphon that energy if you don't know how to protect it. People talk about destiny swapping and all those other things. Can't nobody take your destiny if you're in control of it. People can only take your gifts. People can only take your beauty. They can only take your talents when you are not aware and protective of what you have. All right. So, well, if your energy says, I got it, I don't need nothing, I'll get it myself, there's nothing for anyone else to step in and do. I learned this in the beginning. Like, hold on, y'all. My sister texting me. She outside. Hold on. So when I was learning this, because I had I'm gonna get it done no matter what, I changed the perspective of I'm gonna get it done, but that don't necessarily mean that I have to do it. Meaning that what you won't do, somebody else will do. If I don't have the capacity to do it, or if I don't know how to do it, I'm not going to force myself to do it. I'm very open to getting help. You might not be the resource or the vessel that spirit is going to use to help me with that, but it's going to get done. Okay. He said, what are fireflies in this case? Fireflies are people who are going into the darkness to shine their light, to be a guide in the darkness. Keywords is being in the darkness. People who are going to minister, who are shining their light, who are being radical healers, who are shaking up things, whoever is in your proximity, whoever you're guided to. If you got to ask, then you're not a firefly. So there's nothing for anyone to, if there's nothing for anyone to step in and help you with, you cannot be pursued. You cannot be helped. And if you're always in control of who and how that help comes to serve you, then you're still going to end up doing it yourself. I'm trying to help you not be, well, I'm not trying to help you do anything. I'm offering you tools to help yourself. I'm offering you tools to help yourself. If you are tired of continuing to do everything on your own, figure things out on your own, and not actually get anywhere. Because so many people who are hyper independent, you think that you're actually moving the needle because you do so much for yourself, but you're really just exhausted, and you actually could get a lot further than you are if you actually allowed yourself to be open to help. In the beginning stages, I will say that you're gonna get help that's not necessarily as helpful as you want it to be, but this goes into you creating the environment. It takes work to build your life brick by brick how you want it to look. You can have the first piece of help and it not be very helpful and just quit if you want to. But if you knew better, and if you were adamant about being sovereign and self-governed, you will look at that as data. That's one of the things that I do. I'm very well at pattern recognition. So if I see something as a pattern, I interpret it as data. I don't look at it as something that I actually need to do to fix somebody. I don't look at it as, well, now I got to do it myself. Yes, I go and clean up things if it's my responsibility. I own a whole business. So if I'm the owner, everything is my responsibility. But if I'm delegating a job to someone and you keep not showing up, if you keep not showing up in the same way, if you keep dropping the ball, it's my responsibility to replace you. It's not my responsibility to keep having to go behind you and do your work for you, because if that's the case, what are you here for? This goes into all aspects of life. So some of you don't realize that your independence has turned into emotional unavailability. And that's a different conversation for a whole nother day. But I'm going to talk about that before the end of the week. So make sure that y'all are following so that y'all don't miss that live. But we're going to talk about emotional unavailability, because that was definitely my signature. Like for years, that was my signature. I could show up and I could be physically present, but I was so emotionally detached from everything for so long. So be honest with yourself. Put this down in the chat. Put me down in the chat if this sounds like you. Do you struggle to let people help you? Do you feel uncomfortable being taken care of? Do you feel like if somebody's doing something for you, that you have to pay them back, or you have to show up in the way that they're showing up for you? Like if somebody, is letting you stay at their house for the weekend or whatever, do you feel like I have to earn my keep for the weekend? Or do you feel like if you don't lead, nothing is going to happen? If you don't take initiative, nothing is going to happen. That was where I was stuck at for a while. And I was okay with it. I still feel like that to a certain degree. But I'm okay with it, because my main thing is, if it doesn't happen, then it just won't happen. So what? If it doesn't happen unless I do it, then it must not need to be happening if it's not something that is for me to do. Said being in Black households most definitely train you to think you have to earn your keep. Yeah, I didn't subscribe to that when I was a jit either, because my grandma was really heavy on that. I did not subscribe to that either. She felt like if she was up moving, cleaning, cooking, doing something, that you should be up doing something, and I was definitely going to be sitting down watching TV. Especially if I did my part, which is whatever I needed to clean up, whatever my actual chore was. If I did that before you got there, I'm going to sit my ass down. I don't feel like I need to be up and doing something just because somebody else is up doing something. And I definitely don't feel like I need to earn my keep. Why? Because it's not... It depends on the situation, but for the most part, people do that with everything. I had friends that are like that. Like they'll come and stay the weekend with me. Mind you, they got their own place. They just, want us to get away with the kids, from the kids or whatever, or we're going out for the weekend, and they feel like, let me put some groceries in your house. Let me do this, let me do that. And I'm like, I mean, I appreciate it, but at the same time, you don't have to do that. I told you can stay before you offered me anything. It is not necessary. And I've also learned that, I can be more receptive of when people are trying to do that. I try not to, take gifts in that way. Because like I say, I have one of my elders, she issue, and she feel like everything need to be reciprocal. She feel like, if you give me something, I came and just helped her clean her whole house, because she just needed help cleaning the house. And she just wanted, she wasn't going to ask. She wasn't going to ask. I wanted her to help me do something, and she didn't want me to come over because of that. And so I was like, girl, I can help you clean up, and then we can get to work. So my exchange, I'm asking you for a favor. So I'm coming to help you clean up to make it easier for you to help me. That was the exchange. She gonna pay me for the job. I'm like, yeah, I'm not taking this. She's like, yes, you're gonna take it. You're gonna take it. I don't want no debts. I don't want no. I'm like, it's not a debt. It was literally a healthy exchange. You don't have to pay me for this. But I get the mindset. And I don't want to block my own blessings by not allowing people to receive, or me putting a wall up when I'm open to receive. But I be feeling bad low key when I'm receiving from people who don't know how to receive. I'm like, dang, like, it's okay. I stayed with her for like a good week. I got some, you want to try this new restaurant? I'll pay for it. She want to pay me back. I'm like, relax, sis. It's okay. Just receive. It's okay to receive without having to owe anybody that. And that's a lot of, especially our elder women. It's a lot of elders who feel like they've either been taken advantage of, or somebody held it over their head and made them feel like they owed something, all of those things. And that's why in the Womb Wealth Pink Print, I talk about, how we got to this point ancestrally. I created 4 different archetypes for women to be able to identify where are your blockages when it comes to your wealth. Where are your blockages when it comes to your attraction and your ability to receive, and your ability to expand your capacity. I talk about all of those things, and I broke it down to 4 different archetypes of women. The link tree is in the link tree in my bio. Download it, take the assessment, and see what archetype you are. Because when you see your archetype, it shares with you where this came from the root. We talk about it. The assessment is on the surface of your current behaviors. But once you know what archetype you are, then I go in and explain the ancestral root as to why you behave like this. Because most of this stuff is not something that you're doing now out of necessity. Now it's more so about your genetic pattern, the pattern of you for generations having to suffer, the mothers, the matriarch having to suffer, having to be silenced, having to be seen and not heard, having to perform, having to earn their keep, having to earn love. Those are things that have been inherited to us for a very long time. And it's time for us to put the weight down. It's time for us to take that barrier off of our wombs and give it back to the sender. This is not my weight to carry anymore. I appreciate the work that you did. I appreciate your effort. I appreciate what you had to endure for me to sit here today in my freedom. But this is not my weight to carry anymore. So this is the shift. And I'm almost done, y'all. I gotta go. My sister about to leave me. This is the shift. What exactly is gonna change this? Because I'm not telling you to become weak. I'm telling you how to become magnetic. The first thing you want to do is be aware in the moments of when you are performing instead of receiving. Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you doing out of pressure, or are you doing it out of pleasure? Are you performing this, whatever you're doing, whether it's you're helping somebody? If it's not, I went through a series. It was a month of hell yes. If it's not a hell yes, then the answer is no. If I don't feel it and feel pleasure from helping you do this, from assisting in this way or whatever, if I don't feel a pleasure and a desire to help you in this way, it's going to be a no for me. I got to say no. Do that for 30 days and it's going to change your life. I promise you. Am I doing this? This is the question that you ask yourself. Am I doing this to connect, or am I doing this to control the outcome? Am I doing this because I actually want to connect into this? I was somebody who did not like group projects because I'm going to typically make it my own. I'm going to do all the work because I don't like your ideas, or I don't feel like we're going to get an A if I do it like this. So I'm going to take over the whole thing. That was not healthy. Number 2, you want to create the space. So stop filling every gap. Don't always text first. Don't always solve the problem. Let people figure stuff out. The world is not going to end because you didn't solve the problem. And don't always carry the movement. Don't always carry the moment. If your friends are asking you about going on a trip, let whoever initiated the trip create the itinerary. I think this is what they call the type A people. You don't have to plan everything. You don't have to be in control of everything. Let some stuff fly. There will be somebody who will fill that space if you don't. So allow that to happen. And if nobody feels it, that's okay too. And number 3, the third thing that's going to shift your perspective and shift the way you think about this and the way that you move with being able to receive. Practice receiving. Start small. Let somebody open the door for you. Let somebody help you. Let somebody help you and it be imperfect. without you correcting it, without you feeling like it needs to be done a certain way. Receiving is a skill that most women, despite being feminine beings, they don't know how to do. Most have never practiced it. And for the women who practice it, a lot of women envy them, or they think that, you know, you just like to be pampered, or they belittle them in some way because they're in their feminine essence. I'm definitely one of those. Can you help me take these groceries to the car? No, I'm not injured. No, I'm not incapable. I just simply don't want to do it. This wire is heavy. Can you help me take this off the top shelf? Can you help me put my bags up top on the plane? Asking for help. I was talking to women. I frequently talk to women who are typically in the mindset of, I don't want to have to tell people. This is the gag. This is the key. I'm gonna leave y'all with this principle. To get to the point where you don't have to ask for help, you have to learn how to ask for help. You following? If your energy is not in a place of, I expect to be helped because I know how to ask for help. If it's not assumed that I need help, I literally went to a trip. I went out of the country with a few girls a couple years ago. And I watched the chauffeur that we had for the entire 2 weeks that we were out there. I watched the driver was actually, I don't know if he messed around with one of the girls or what, but he was actually, you know, texting and linked up with one girl. I watched this man every time we got in the car. He only opened my door. Never asked him to. He only opened my door. Not the girl that he was, you know, booed up with the whole week. Not the other sisters. And I was sitting in the back. He went out of his way each and every time to open my door and got back in the car. I didn't say nothing, but I understand energy. I understand that my energy demanded it. I saw we went out and, you know, they went straight to the bar. I trained my sisters at a young age. If we're going out to a male-centered place, you don't need to pay for anything. And that was toxic, you know, back in the days, you know, even though you can't afford your own. If I'm in a place where there's a male-centered place, I shouldn't have to come out of pocket for anything. That's the type of energy that I demanded. So all of them were at the bar as soon as we came in. I was going to find a seat. What happened is they bought their drinks. A guy asked me to dance. I did a little two-step with him. After I finished, I'm thirsty. And he bought drinks for the rest of us for the entire table for the whole night. So y'all see how mindset works. You can be in proximity to people, but if your energy does not project that, you still gonna be treated how you think you should be treated. You have to be in a place of being able to ask. Had I not told him that I'm thirsty, yes, he probably would have went the rest of the night without having to put no effort in. But because my energy demanded it, and because I was able to ask, I didn't have a problem asking. I was able to support myself and the rest of my girls for the rest of the whole night. He took us to a whole nother spot and sponsored that too. So I'm going to leave it right here. The last part of it is regulating your body and being able to regulate your nervous system. To make all of this happen, you have to regulate your nervous system. You have to be able to control. You can't mindset your way into this type of reality, into this type of energy. Although you know people can watch all the affirmations and do all the mental programming, if your body is not coherent with your mind, it's not going to work. And that takes actual practice. It takes actual skill. It takes actual regulation. It's a system. And the first step again is getting the Womb Wealth Pink Print. After you get the Womb Wealth pink print, then book a reset call with me. On that reset call, I'm going to go over that pink print with you, go over your results, and we're going to curate specifically how you can, in the next 7 days, start to shift your reality. And you'll see it within the first 7 days, how people start looking at you differently, how you start being more magnetized, and how people just want to offer you things within 7 days. I know it works. I've been doing it for over a year now. And I see it. Even though I already had this type of mentality, my nervous system did not allow it to expand. So a lot of people are now just working on the mindset. But once you get the mindset to actually integrate that, to be productive, and to actually see it manifest at a high level, you have to regulate your body. And you can book a reset call with me today and get that done, so that you can actually start seeing real results. All right. And if you're not on my mailing list, still go get that pink print, and that's going to get you on my mailing list. But if you're not on my mailing list, I am going to be launching the Womb Wealth Collective this summer, and I'm opening enrollment tomorrow. So for the people that are on my mailing list, they've already had the sneak peek of that already. I'm not posting it to my page until next month. So if you're in my mailing list, you'll be able to get that first dibs, because the first 5 people who book a reset call are going to get grants to the Womb Wealth Collective. And if you know anything about how I operate, I work in intimate settings. So I do not do groups of more than 15 at a time per cohort. So thank y'all so much for your time with me. I hope that this information is from Shein Love. I hope that this information was helpful, and that you not only just receive it, but you receive it with empowerment for you to be activated to make a change in your life. Y'all have a blessed rest of y'all day, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.